Every hot rod and custom shop has a unique style that's all their own.
I gotta say though, like as far as the style goes, there's something in the secret sauce. I don't know what it is, but when you look at a Gotham Garage build, you know it's a Gotham Garage car.
Mark Towle and Tony Quinones star in the Netflix series Car Masters Rust to Riches. The show represents what they've been doing every day for a long time, building everything from wild, outside-the-box custom creations to precise replicas of concept cars from Detroit's golden age. The only difference now is a camera crew and a streaming network to capture it. For decades, Mark and Tony have built cars their own way. Now in the third season, if they can inspire even one person to learn how to turn a wrench, they'll be happy. First question, first to you, Mark. When did you fall in love with building cars?
My first car was a 65 GTO. I paid $100 for it, got it out of a wrecking yard. It barely made it home. That was all I could afford, and then I just started fixing it, and that's where this all started, and it just became you either like cars or you hate them. And it was just one of those. I built my first hot rod, and then it was just car after car after car after car.
And Tony, same question to you.
Man, it's just always been there. There's pictures of me as an infant in the garage with my dad restoring his Bel Air, and so growing up, it was just always cars and motorcycles were always in the garage. It was always part of life and family life, and my first car was my '67 Chevelle. So for me, it was always there, but that was the one that definitely sunk the hook in all the way.
Do you still have it?
I do, yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great story too. It's I sold the car and I was able to buy it back about 10 years ago, and sold it, regretted it, and it popped back up one day. So I snagged it, and last summer got to get it, kind of a little bit more up to par. Still a work in progress, but
Life does sometimes give you a second chance.
Yep.
So then, how did Gotham Garage get started?
That's back in in '99 I was making Speed Racer Mach 5s, and I had a client, Russ Martin, who was a shock jock radio guy in Texas. He bought a Mach 5 from me and then asked me, "Hey man, can you build a Batmobile, a '66 Batmobile?" So I said, why not? I knew the guy here in California, Bob Butts, that had molded the original car. And I bought a kit from him, and I built it for Russ Martin, and then that led to another one, and another one, and another one. So Gotham Garage kind of stuck because of the Batmobile stuff.
But you're still Gotham Garage.
Yeah, I'm still Gotham Garage. It's more, a lot of the Gotham for me is just because it's New York City. You get to that part of the country where cars were born on the East Coast,
Well, your first shop name was a little longer than Gotham Garage, so you had to condense it down, right? Wasn't?
No, what was the speed? It was a Mach 5 factory. It was the name of my first garage. And then it just somehow it got stuck. One day I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were just bouncing names around. I'm like, I need a better name, and it was. I go, but it has to have a garage or shop, SHOPPE. It's got to be something old English, kind of. And he's like, dude, you build Batmobile, so why not call it Gotham Garage? And I'm like, that'll stick. And then it just stuck. So, because everything that comes out of there is pretty off the, beaten path, out of the box, as we say a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, way outside of the box.
So how would you describe the build style that your shop is known for?
It's kind of like when you're trying to cook dinner with what's in the fridge.
Yeah. It's potluck.
And then you create a masterpiece, and it was like, man, I'm not sure I would have put those ingredients together.
It kind of boils down to what wouldn't somebody else do? And using everything that's around me from all different facets of life, from the hardware store to the what just fell off a truck, what that guy threw away, and it's evolved to way more extensive stuff creatively, because I met Tony about 15 years ago.
Yeah, probably about that.
And we've been working together separate. He has his shop, I have my shop, but we've been doing a lot of stuff together before the TV show. And so because he's really good with a water jet and a computer, he can draw what's in your mind real quick. And it's gotten to the point now where I just say, hey, I want this and I need webs in it, or I want that and I need this logo in it. We've done so much that he already knows where I'm going with it, or I'll just say, make me something cool, and then he'll make me something cool. So it's not just to me. I have a vision, but I still need Tony to help me get that done. So, because I don't know how to operate a water jet. I know how to put the material in, but I don't really know much more after that.
Well, I think there's a combination of everything. There's, it's a combination of cars that are out there and that history and heritage of, just the automotive history and heritage. There's cartoons and
that's the
that
other
whole
thing
cartoon and superhero element that's in the cars. And then,
it's a lot of cartoon. I mean, I like all my cars to be distorted. If you're gonna, I don't want to make a Camaro out of a Camaro. I want to take a Camaro and make something completely different out of it, or an El Camino, or whatever it is, whatever we touch. That's why I do a lot of four-door stuff, because most people shy away from that. It's like, what are you gonna do with a four-door? Well, they're cheaper for starters, and worst case scenario, it doesn't turn out so well, and then I just move on and go, what a bad idea that was. As long as I don't, if I break even, it's a good day.
Right. So would you say that your style has changed over time of the lifetime of doing this kind of work?
Not really. I still build cars the same way I built my first car. Big tires, fender flares, stuff sticking up out of the hood, as exaggerated as I can make it, that's what I do. And it doesn't matter what it is, what kind of vehicle it is.
I would say though, with every car, and we're doing so many cars now with Car Masters, we're building so many cars so fast that there's new challenges, right? So new cars show up, and even though it might be like your own style and your own heritage, when a new car comes in, that's still a new challenge. So you kind of don't know what's gonna kind of come out of that.
Yeah, the only cars that are always done the same are the replicas that I do, but because that person's wanting that car. I'll change a little couple things on the inside. No two Mach 5s have the same interior. Dashes are laid out different. So if you do happen to park yours next to somebody else's, at least yours is a little different. And but as far as every car is, it's like, what's a great idea today? You know what I mean? It's I know it sounds corny, but what's the car telling me it wants to do? But where'd you get the idea? I don't know. I looked at the car and I went, man, that's what it needs to look like. Let's just make it look like that. And we're not afraid to take a Sawzall and start making moves.
Just keep cutting until you like it.
Yeah, pretty much it starts off in my head as, this is going to be badass, and then that's it. And then it's like, okay, start working on it.
I got to say though, as far as the style goes, there's something in the secret sauce. I don't know what it is, but when you look at a Gotham Garage build, it's a Gotham Garage car, right? I mean, there's just something about it that
it tells you who made it.
Yeah, you know where it came from.
Absolutely.
And that spontaneity is fun to watch on the show. I think if you were more calculated, it would be less entertaining.
Yeah, probably it'd be pretty boring. I'm not very calculated. I pretty much fly by the seat of my pants. I'm not the Air Force pilot with all of the medals. I'm the Vietnam guy that just goes, wah, gets in there and gets the job done and gets right back out. The guy that's always in trouble, that's a private his whole career in the military. That's me.
So how did the Car Masters Rust to Riches thing come to be in the partnership with Netflix?
Day one was totally ironic. Rob and Michael, Rob Hammersley and Michael Lutz, they were trying to put this a car show together where they had a whole different idea than what I do for a living or what we do on the show. Michael was talking to some people and they're like, oh, there's this dude that builds Batmobiles and Mach 5s up in Temecula. I'm so far off the radar, no signage on my building and no phone number on the internet and none of that stuff, no address on my website. So he ends up calling the shop next to me, Dynatrans, and gets me on the phone on their phone. And he's like, dude, I heard this. And he came up and he was like, this is insane, dude. This is what you do every day. Rob and Michael finally hooked up with Mac Productions, and then through Mac Productions and Netflix, it all just came to be what it is. And it's basically what I've been doing every day for 21 years as a business.
What did that feel like the first time you were able to turn on Netflix and see yourself?
It's kind of weird. I mean, I've been on TV, but nothing like this. I mean, I've been on a few shows, and I've had my, been on the news and stuff. But to actually have a show that's about me and what I do and the people that I do it with, it's kind of cool. It's kind of surreal because for me, it's just like, wow, somebody's following me with a camera. Now the whole world's looking at me. You know what I mean? But it's a blessing and a curse because it's a lot of work.
Was there a moment? I mean, building cars on camera is hard. Like for either of you, has there been a moment
That's the
where
funniest thing
you
you've ever said.
where you said, what have we done? Like, I just want to go back to.
A couple times a week.
Yeah, I think
every
we just said that before we walked in here. It's very challenging because of the nature of production is to shoot everything 10 or 11 times and then want to film everything instead of the meat and potatoes of like what they edit, right? So they're going to use this stuff to edit it, but then because there's so much creativity going on with Tony and I and the other people that they're like, we can't miss that. We can't wait. Stop. We got to get a camera. Jeff, get over here with a camera. And you're like, but bro, I could be done already. And you're never going to show this, but it's hard because for them, it's exciting to watch a flat piece of metal turn into something that's not flat anymore.
No, once we get going, man, it's look out. You're either sitting around quiet because you can't make any noise.
Yeah.
Or it's elbows flying and yeah.
So it
That's all or
does.
nothing.
Like I said, it's a blessing and a curse. The yin and the yang just fight each other all day long with it. But at the end, the cars turn out pretty badass, and I'm pretty happy with the product. We stay more to that's how it goes together, and we're building the car. It's not subbed out to another shop, and I do all the painting. Tony and I do all the welding. He cuts stuff on the water jet. We're fabricating all day long. It's a real deal. It's not, oh, I'm done. I'm gonna go home now. We're here till, 8, 10, 12 o'clock at night, getting these cars to get done on time so that they can get their film schedule.
Yeah, and I know those guys have a tough time figuring out what's going to be in the show because there's so many neat things that we're making and so many neat little elements, and you only have so much time. You can't squeeze everything in, and so there's always those, real proud of the things that do make it in, and sometimes bummed that one little thing that I made didn't quite make it in the show.
I'm going to tell you maybe my favorite part of the show. As much fun as it is to watch the cars come together and to watch you guys build everything, the fact that you guys and the rest of the crew seem to actually genuinely have a good relationship and respect each other, and that's definitely in contrast to some of the other shows where people build things. Was that an intentional, did you intentionally try to make a show like that or unlike what some of the others were?
I almost demanded that there's no drama, no throwing wrenches, no we're going to be fighting, we're going to be at each other's throats. I have better things to do with my life than argue with people.
Yeah, who wants to live like that all day, every day, man? It's just not fun.
It's like the Tuttles, It gets to a certain point where everybody's just sick of it. And at that point in time, when this all started, was right at the end of all of that drama with the reality TV shows and everybody fighting, and it didn't matter what show it was, everybody's at each other's throats. And I was like, I had told Rob and Michael that I refuse to do a show like that. If you're going to do it, it's going to be about building cars, and the cars themselves would be more, in my mind, what the show is about, because that it's cool to watch something come out of nothing. But I think the world just was over it, and I was over it, and I'm like, I don't want to be part of that. If that's a dog and pony show, I'm not interested in it. I want to go to the circus and laugh at the clowns. I don't want to go clean up after the elephants.
Yeah, it's a much more natural fit for us. I mean, hanging out, having fun, building cars. That's kind of what it should be anyways. And we all do get along great. We got a great crew, and everyone to our extended crew, our entire team, which is a lot of people.
And it helps when there's so
good
much
team.
history. Like I've known Tony for 15, 16 years. I've known Sean for 21 years. I've known K-Man for 12 years. I've known Constance for 5 years, 6 years.
You have alluded to this a couple times, and I've heard you say that if you can't find something, bracket, whatever, Tony can just make it. Tony, how did you learn how to be a fabricator and to do all of that stuff?
Man, I've been in manufacturing for maybe 20 years now. Kind of started young, and
He's only 12.
I'm 12. Yeah. So as my business outside of all this evolved, I just learned I learned machining and fabrication and CAD design and drafting, and I've always been drawing. So this has just been a natural evolution for me, and I'm always looking for. I like to learn the new technologies and the new softwares and the new equipment and the new ways to make something, and and then also the old ways too. Just the traditional hand methods, and there's nothing like just picking up hand tools and cutting some up and hammering it into submission. So yeah, it's just been something that's come together over the years, and it's great to just look at something and go, we need this to fit with this, and it doesn't exist, but if we could make these things happen, and then we make it happen. And between Mark and I, we can usually figure out what needs to function and
how to get it there.
And then we do it.
As you're describing that, I'm reminded of the Pinto, the electric Pinto. And you guys are in
Thanks for bringing that up.
Well, I mean, you're in a pretty unique position that not a lot of the rest of us, who car guys are in, where you've done both. You've built a million cars with, blown big blocks and whatever, and you've built now an electric car. Which is harder to do?
They're both the same. Every car's got its problems. And, it's funny because production in the very beginning, they're like, okay, we have to have a problem. And Tony and I are like, you don't need a problem. Trust me. Something is going to go drastically wrong at least once. Just film it. You'll know it when you see it. And they would try to plan stuff. And we're like, that's A, that's unbelievable. And B, there's a bigger problem coming. And they finally got to the point where they're like, okay, every car is going to have a problem because cars have problems, especially the way we build with we're putting stuff together that has no business being put together.
Right.
For me, I mean, I know a lot about electrical stuff. I just hate it. And Tony is totally enthralled in this whole Tesla electric car crazy stuff. That's why I handed it off to him. Was like, here, go have fun. I don't want to do that. If it doesn't smell like gas and leak oil, I don't want nothing to do with it.
You know what makes the electric car a little more challenging right now is it's still in its infancy as far as in the aftermarket and in the hot rod world. And that's really what hot rodding is, right? It's where it always started was taking the new, bigger engine from the factory and putting it in your old car, right? So as the factories and racing evolves, that's what trickles down to guys like us, right? So now these parts are trickling down to us, but we don't have, if you're going to build something with a big block Chevy or now an LS motor, you can go online or you can go to Speedway or you can go to your friends that did it and you can find the answers. And the electric car stuff is, your small block Chevy knowledge on the internet's this big, and your LS information on the internet is this big, and then there's a little section over here with info to cross reference and answer your questions. So it's that's where it's at. It's just early in the evolution, and it can be hard to find the answer you need.
How worried would you be if you were in a traditional blown big block 8-9 second drag car and you pulled up next to a electric car at the drag strip? Would you be worried? I'll say quarter mile.
I would be laughing at that poor little guy who's going to fade out halfway down the track. That Pinto jammed, but their electric drag cars are only good for 1/8 of a mile because they peak and then you're done. There's no more left. Where they call it the big end. It takes a little bit for that for a big block with a blower to spool up, but as soon as it does, it's all over. Once you get to the quarter throttle and down, half track is where all the power comes in on a gas motor. The electric motor is quicker. No doubt it's a way quicker car, but faster in a quarter mile an hour, I seriously would doubt it. I wouldn't. I'd stake my name on it. I've seen those cars, and they're just like 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, yeah, and then it's 0 to 100 in 20 seconds, because they have an electric motor can only get as many RPMs as the juice that you're feeding it, and you're losing juice as you're feeding it, so your horsepower is running away from you. Where aspirated or gasoline powered cars or nitro, it will run until you can't feed it anymore, and it will never slow down until it blows up. You can over rev it and launch it, you know. So I don't know if that answered your questions, but it was a long way around it.
It does. Tony, do you feel the same way? I mean, I feel like you're the one who actually kind of built the thing. Are you a little bit more open-minded to it?
Oh, way more open-minded to it. I mean, I think if we were going to try to build a quarter-mile drag car, we'd have our work cut out for us. Yeah, that'd be a different beast.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, when we did the electric Pinto and we were out at Irwindale at the drag strip, I haven't hung out. I've been to the drags where you go watch Winter Nationals out here at the Auto Club Speedway, and that's all quarter mile, you know. So you see the Top Fuel, and you see all the cars out there running quarter mile time. So you know what's fast. But being out there on a run what you brung night, and it's an 1/8 mile, I didn't know what a good 1/8 mile time was. And so when you ran your first couple of passes
with a fully
Pinto,
charged battery,
you know, and it's not making any noise, and we got wheel hop, and it's it's leaving a burnout
all the way down the track,
halfway down or more down the 1/8 mile. I'm just going, man, this thing is, I don't know. I kind of felt like, honestly, I felt like at first we didn't quite hit the mark, or it wasn't gonna hold up next to some of the other cars that would be there that night.
That's one of the fastest times.
When I saw everybody else running in cars that I thought were just gonna absolutely smoke our times.
Yeah, we were in a what? What did we run? Under 7 or just at 7 seconds?
We were just at 7, and I mean there was some.
Yeah, it was the first pass
nasty
was
engine
like
built
just
up cars.
barely over 7 seconds. And there's cars out there with blowers and turbos and souped up and all kinds of money and lighting, and they're like, oh look, there goes an 8, there goes a 10, there goes an 11. Like an 11, that's a quarter mile time.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's it
was fun. I'd do it again. That car was it was something to be that quick.
But we'll see where it goes. I mean, I think over the next 5 and 10 and more years, you're gonna see a lot more of it. It'll evolve.
When we come back, Mark and Tony talk about their favorite projects from the show so far. But first, to see photos of what we discuss on this and every episode, check out the Toolbox, our automotive blog. Find it at speedwaymotors.com by clicking the Toolbox link on the front page. We'll also throw up a few photos to Facebook and Instagram. The new season of Car Masters Rust to Riches is out now on Netflix. New episodes of What Moves You come out every 2 weeks on Tuesdays. If you like what you hear, tell a friend to listen to What Moves You on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. What is your favorite project from the show?
So far, you mean?
So far.
Well, I can't tell you what that one is because you haven't seen it yet, but that's the season 3 car. But
yeah, season 1 and 2.
Out of season 1 and 2, I would say my favorite out of all of them would have to be the Thunderbird, the Chrome Thunderbird.
Okay, the very first one.
Yeah, that would have to be my favorite, even over the Futura. That would still be my favorite because it just has that. It's the first car we built.
Yeah, I really like that one too. I always refer to that car as the learning curve.
Yeah,
because man, that car just whooped our butts.
Yeah.
It was such a big project to
Anything
start off
that
with.
could go wrong
Day
went
one,
wrong.
Season 1, first
mud in the rear end.
Yeah, that was.
The mud in the rear end. Motor's frozen solid. Every part of that car that was rusted was the part we needed, not the part we cut off. And then it was, oh wow, now we got to have brake. And it was this cascade of gotta have this, gotta have that, gotta have this, gotta have that. because it ended up being
was-
almost a brand new car by the time we were
Car was
done.
rough when we started. I gotta say though, I think if I gotta pick one car that's my favorite, it's it's the car, it's what it is, it's the story behind it, but probably be the Anziano.
Yeah, that was a cool ride.
Really like that car.
Yeah, the Buick.
Just
Yeah,
so well built, such a nice car, such a great body style. It's got the Viper engine in it.
Yeah.
I mean that thing's a real classy hot rod.
My favorite smelling car was the VW bus, though. All that avgas burning inside of it.
Yeah, that
I
one was
believe
pretty
that.
good.
That was the best smelling car.
That was my thought when watching that episode. Was like, man, that just has to be like horrifically loud inside that thing. Just a big steel tube with a blown big block.
Best reveal day of my life was driving that thing on that dry lake bed. It's like 3 miles tip to end, and I was like, they're telling me, hey man, stop outrunning the drone. You're outrunning the camera car. I'm like, you guys said go fast, and I'm like, I'm barely pushing on the throttle. The exhaust inside of that bus was so bad that I'd get to the end and I have to get out. I'd just be crying from the fumes. But it was awesome. No, everybody ended up getting out because they're like, oh, I can't breathe. They're like, how are you doing this all day? I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm in a blown, stretched bus and I can't get a speeding ticket. So that was by far the funnest day I've had filming so far.
That was a good one.
You mentioned season 3. It's the newest season. Without any spoilers, without saying anything that you can't say, what are you most excited about in the coming season?
Man.
How awesome these cars are that we didn't. I'm totally stoked that nobody has gone to the we're here, we don't have to get better. Everybody's still going over the top with everything. We're still pushing the envelope on all the cars. Mm-hmm. And this year, I mean, filming through the COVID thing was horrible, but there's so much that just got in the way of everything. But at the end of the day, I'm just stoked that it came out. It's as good or way better than any season before it. Just the caliber of cars and what we did. I don't know how it's.
I think it's just it's exciting to share it, right? We worked so hard on this.
Yeah.
There's so much creative in the cars and the designs and the builds coming into it. Everything that leads up to pre-production just to get ready, right?
Yeah.
And then we work. We work like animals here to build these cars. It's. I don't even know the hours. The hours just get lost.
Yeah.
But we basically live here during the filming season. We put absolutely everything into it, and then we're done, and we're on pause until it comes out and it actually airs. Mm-hmm. So there's just a lot of pent up, like excitement, I guess, right? Our excitement to share with everybody is, it's I just can't wait for everyone to see it, man. I want everyone to see the cars and the builds.
I get the same thing that all of you guys get to watch it, because I don't get to see everything they filmed. I don't watch his interviews or her interviews or K-Man's or that. Mm-hmm. And I only do the scenes I'm in, which I'm in a lot with everybody, but there's stuff I don't get to see. And then when I watch it, I'm like, I didn't know they went there. I didn't know they did that,
And there's so much that's a blur too, because it happens so fast. And even things that I was there for, I go, I completely forgot about that, man. Yeah. I forgot we went there and we did that, and oh yeah, that happened.
That and it's always good to see how much of me giving Sean a bad time are they going to leave in.
Oh man, yeah. There's a lot to edit right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it comes through in the show just how hard you guys are working. I mean, it's not, nobody is sitting there thinking that you have this dreamy gig where you go home at 4:00 and just relax. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with the demands of like just keeping the pace and doing it all by the deadline?
Me having owned my own business for so long and Tony's owned his business for so long, you don't have the employee attitude. The attitude is the owner. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, I'm putting my name on the line. Gotham Garage is out there and everything's going to fall on that name. So I make sure that everything that leaves here and everything that gets done gets done to where it's a Gotham garage build. It's not it's not a subpar or the TV show cars. They're never going to be street legal. They're never this or never that. They're built to be daily drivers. So I still have my reputation that's on the line. So it comes down to, hey man, this has got to be done right. And Tony, I know, has the same work ethic as I do of it's got to get done. So I'm just going to do it.
Well, and we set out to do these things. So when the build is, hey, look, this is what we're building. This is the project, and when we take on these different elements of it, and we're trying to make all these things happen on a build. Sometimes it's like the harder it gets, the deeper you dive in, and maybe it's there's a lot of pride on the line. There's a challenge on the line, and I think sometimes just the harder it gets, the deeper you dive in.
If time and money were no object, what car would you most like to build on the show?
I mean, that's tough because we're really getting to build a lot of neat cars right now.
Probably, I would say that if time and money weren't a problem, the coolest car that we could ever build would start as a drawing and then work its way into fruition. So it would just be something that doesn't exist and not start with anything other than a piece of paper and a pencil and then go from there. In my mind, that would be it. Because that would take a lot of time and a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony, do you have a different answer?
No, I'm gonna agree with that. My favorite things to build are something from scratch. Where your imagination can run wild, and that really does get expensive and take a lot of time. So, and I have some of that stuff in mind that we haven't had the time or the money here to go down that road. So, one of these days.
How have your lives changed since the show started now 4 years ago?
I got gray hair.
Yeah, I got a few more. I got a couple more of those.
How has it changed? It's about 100 miles an hour faster because now it's 2 full-time jobs of the filming and everything that goes with it, and then just the business. In a good way, you get recognized. It's really weird when people start walking up to you. Hey, man, I want, can I get a picture with you? And it's like really cool and flattering. And you just kind of go, wow, man, I'm actually making an impact in somebody's life. Or somebody sends you an email or a letter in the mail about how my kid's been watching your show and he wants to build cars for when he grows up. And, there's just all the cool elements of you touch so many people's lives that you never would have touched. And you hope that it seems so far to be for the good. So that, for me, that's it. It's just knowing that somebody actually appreciates what we're doing and the amount of effort that goes into it, and that it's keeping the gasoline in everybody's blood alive, because cars have kind of gotten weird with people building cars in the garage with their dad. It's kind of like waning, because now it's you just buy the stuff off the internet, glue it to your car, and go down the road. Everybody's got the same thing.
Yeah, I think in this internet age of ordering things online and writing code and all this, there seems to be a disconnect of people that want to just get their hands dirty and work. And I kind of see a younger generation. I see a gap maybe in a generation. I mean, it can be hard to find younger people that want to come in and help and learn. And they're still out there. And I think through the show, it's connected us to a lot of people that have maybe either been inspired or re-inspired to get out in the garage, pick up some tools, to try something, to give them that little feedback of, hey, you can. It doesn't matter if you mess up. Start with whatever you got. Whatever's laying around, just give it a try, and so that's pretty neat to be a part of that and to affect people.
So is that the advice you would give to a kid who sees your show and sees what you're doing and wants to do the same thing? Is that the advice you would give them? Is to just do it?
Oh, you know what? That's the best piece of advice I could give to anybody. I have a saying: I've effed up more than you'll ever do right. So don't worry about it. The best ideas come from the third time you're doing it, and you learn what not to do and how to get around it. And if you don't try it, You're never going to know if you're good at it or not. And nobody, it takes 3 years to be an overnight success.
Just today, I'm making this brake booster mount for this car that we're working on, so I can't say what it is and I can't describe it in detail. But I'm trying to mount the brake booster and this brake assembly that I got from Speedway, and I made it twice and it's still not right, But maybe I'm in a unique position where I can mess up 3 or 4 times before anyone notices.
Yeah, I know.
So
I noticed right away.
I got to find my scrap bin here. It's pretty big, and so we do a lot of recycling of old ideas into, to fix new problems. But don't be afraid to mess up, man. Just get out there, and just keep working on it till it works. Make it work.
Do yourself a favor. Get a Speedway catalog. That's the best piece of advice I can give anybody, and that's not a suck up buttercup statement. I've been using Speedway for a lot of years because you guys have the way you guys are laid out. You have all of the parts, and unlike some other companies, here's my master cylinder. It's not the master cylinder with the bracket and the pedal and 4 other choices where you guys lay it out that, and you're gonna need this, and so it really. And you guys touch on everything. You know what I mean?
Well, and sometimes I need this to solve the other problem over here, and
so you guys have a great company, and it's been with this show. It has saved our ass a lot, knowing that I know where I can get that at. They already make that disc brake kit. They already make that bracket. I know that they already make that. What do they call that? Rack and pinion steering mechanism, So it's cool to have resources like you guys that help us get this job done, especially with the time constraints and the mayhem that's in these buildings while we're filming. It's just the place is a mess all the time because there's so much work going on. It's empty boxes everywhere. I mean, we can fill a dumpster in 3 days with just flattened cardboard. Because there's so many parts flying around in here.
It would take 2 people full time for each of us to keep this place clean, just with the mess you and I make.
Yeah, we're pretty messy, but that's the sign of a guy getting work done.
That's it.
What happens in the future? What do you see happening in the future?
I think what the future holds is just a lot more of what's already going on. Don't want to grow to the point I've got 700 employees and it's a Boyd Coddington show where I sit at a desk and everybody else does the work. I'm not that guy. I'll be building cars till you all are dead and then some. It really just all it holds is another adventure. Like, what's the next adventure? I mean, hopefully this goes on for 10 or 11 seasons, and every season is just a little bit bigger and a little bit better than the one before. So to sit back and go enjoy the ride, and how does it grow? How do you grow your business from here? And what else can I get involved in?
Yeah, and I don't think there's any end to the builds because there's so many ideas that we just have kind of on the back burner. There's so many cars out there that we haven't even thought about messing up yet.
Yeah, and it's like people. I just bought 2 stupid cars because they were a good deal. It's like, what am I doing? I got 30 cars now sitting around that haven't been touched, and that's on top of the builds that are going on. So it's because you see something, you just go, I'm gonna do something cool with that. I'm gonna do something cool with that, and we're finally at the point where we get to do something cool with that. So we're not the 90-year-old guy that's got 4,000 cars rotting into the ground going, I'm going to get to that someday. we're finally there,
Yeah, I think the future is just a lot more cars and a lot more builds and maybe a couple more vacations mixed in there. But
so much of what you guys do is based on like looking at a car and like, having this spark of creativity and knowing what you're going to do. Do you ever worry that you're going to like hit a wall? Be like, I have no idea what to do with this car. The car's not talking to me. I don't know what to do.
Oh, it happens every day. That's where our we have 2 mantras. One is when in doubt, cut it out, and the other one is just get started. You can because you could just get started tearing it apart, and then you'll go, I could do this, I could do that. But normally, I mean, pretty much when you look at a car, you're already trying to figure out how to make it cooler. So Wheels and tires make or break your car, so you can always start there if you don't know where else to start.
Yeah, and that's really, you just got to dive in and work your way through it. And we paint ourselves into the corner all the time, but I mean, that's the fun of it too, is getting to the point of no return and going, well, there's only one way out, man, and it's that way. You just keep on going.
At the end of the day, I still got to get it painted and done.
I mean, that's the end of my list of questions. Is there anything else that you guys want to discuss? You need to get back to it. If you want to stall anymore, I'm happy to discuss anything else.
We'll stall.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like a really good opportunity for everybody that's involved on both sides of the coin, and it's just awesome to be able to like meet people like you and talk to you and get all the stuff that we wouldn't normally get just sitting in our dark hole building cars.
Right.
So it's kind of cool. I mean, it's a lot to take in a short amount of time with us. You know, it's so bizarre. It's just good. The cool part is all the relationships that we get to start building with the companies that we've been buying parts for or parts from for so long. Now we get to put faces with all these businesses and get deeper into those kind of relationships, you know, that help both sides of that fence. So
yeah, I mean, I'll say I just think it's incredible that we have this following and we get to do what we do and share it with the whole world. You know, it's I mean, we've been doing the kind of work we've been doing forever, and it's really hard to explain. It's really hard to tell somebody what you do or explain what you do, or you know, it's like even family or friends never quite understand. And then but now to be able to do it through CarMasters and through Netflix, and to be able to share what we do and the process and reach and connect with people, it's pretty incredible, man.
If we can get one person to pick up a wrench and start working on cars, we're successful.
Yeah, keep it alive. We need to keep hot rodding and you know, customizing and that creativity. Just keep it alive and
we will not let the burnouts die.
Yeah.
There's still something about smoking tires that's still fun.
Yeah, I mean, that is a great way to look at what you guys do. You know, you could easily be in I'm on Netflix and I'm better than you guy at home building a, you know, whatever in your garage. But like to use your sort of platform to like sort of evangelize and get more people to build cars. I mean, that's a fantastic outlook. That's an amazing attitude to have.
We're just car guys. They just film us doing it. You know, the car guys, we all have that. We have that community. You know, you go to a car show, you could not know anybody there, and by the time you leave, you've got two good friends. So it's just that something about cars and connection. Doesn't matter if you're male or female or young or old. There's something about a car. Everybody's got one really good memory that sticks to a car, and I think it's just the one thing that all humans on the planet have in common. Even people that have never had a car or will never get a car. There's still that car. They're like, man, that is such the coolest car ever. There's just something about, they're all alive. I guess that's basically the easiest way to sell it. My 65 GTO, if I didn't hold my breath and turn the key to start it, it wouldn't start. I swear to God. I'd have to hold my breath. I'd be like, I'm going to breathe this time. Nope. As soon as I hold my breath, start right up.
I think a lot of people too, nowadays you look at the auctions that are on TV and you go online and you look at cars and you see what's for sale out there, and some of it can seem unattainable, right? The prices are just ridiculous, and you see some of the shows and you go, man, I can't afford this, or I can't do that, and it doesn't have to be that. You know, you can go down to your local hardware store and grab some tools and get some supplies and get creative, and if you got some ideas and you're willing to work, you know, you can do something special.
Thanks to Mark Towle and Tony Quinones for being our guests today, and thanks to all of you for listening to What Moves You, a Speedway Motors podcast. To see photos and watch video we reference in every episode, visit the toolbox at speedwaymotors.com. Email the podcast at podcast@speedwaymotors.com, and if you like what you heard, tell a friend where to find us. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.